Y'all, Brett Favre done sue Unc, man. He done sue Unc. Shannon Sharpe is back in the news for being sued for defamation by Brett Favre. Brett Favre has also sued Pat McAfee and Mississippi auditor Shad White. I'm going to get into the different lawsuits of Shannon Sharpe and Pat McAfee in this video. I'm going to get you some live reacts from the auditor Shad White. But let's get right into it, all right? Let's look at Unc's lawsuit. This was filed on February 9th that we found out about it. We don't know if Shannon's been served. He definitely knows about this now. It has been filed in the state of Mississippi. It states the defendant Sharpe on his popular television program, which has audiences of hundreds of thousands, has made egregiously false and defamatory statements against Favre. All right. One of them is quote unquote, Brett Favre was a sorry mofo to steal from the lowest of the low. I could hear Shannon's voice saying that. So there's no doubt he definitely said that. Sorry mofo to steal from the lowest of the low. And that Favre was taken from the underserved in Mississippi, and that Favre stole money from the people that really needed that money. There is no basis anywhere for these outrageous falsehoods, which Sharpe made knowingly that they were false, or at a minimum with reckless disregard for the fact that they were false. One, Brett, I feel like you should be filing lawsuits against these newspapers if that's the case, because it sounds like he's reporting on what has been reported by credible news sources. But we'll go on in the document. Give me 1 second. All right, so we're gonna go to the page because a lot of this is fluff by his attorneys. All right, Sharpe's egregious falsehoods about Favre. He goes on to say that, basically he's on FS1, that he's been on the show called Undisputed on September 14th, 2022, during an episode of Undisputed, which was aired on FS1 to over 130,000 viewers. Sharpe falsely accused Favre of serious crimes, stating, "The problem that I have with the situation, you got to be a sorry mofo to steal from the lowest of the lows." Again, he's basically going back to what he said in his opening paragraph. He says these clips are from Undisputed are streamed on YouTube, and a podcast version of the show is available for download, which has an infinite reach. And the next page, he says clips from this episode of Undisputed repeating Sharpe's malicious and defamatory statements were posted to their YouTube page and received over 1 million views, a far greater viewership than the average clip of the show normally receives. Now that was a backhanded little dig, like, yeah, y'all YouTube show, all right? That's where they got all of this. On February 3rd, 2023, Favre's counsel demanded that Sharpe retract and apologize for his defamatory statement. Said, "Nah, I'm good," prompting Favre to file this statement. So then they go to the cause of actions, the defamation and defamation per se, and that's basically the carbon copy what was filed against Pat McAfee as well, and the Mississippi State Auditor. But all right, let's look at Pat's lawsuit. All right, let me get this set up. So the same thing. Pat McAfee has a popular national sportscast podcast, which has an audience of hundreds of thousands of viewers daily. He has made egregious, false, and defamatory statements that Favre was a thief who was stealing from the poor people in Mississippi. There is no basis for these outrageous falsehoods, which McAfee made knowingly, that they were false or at a minimum with reckless disregard for the fact that they were false. Yeah. Look, bro, you're gonna need to go against basically all the major news outlets. I don't know why you're picking on certain people. It seems very targeted. Maybe they're just in the sports world or former football players. You feel like you got to quote unquote clear your name, but this is what's going on. All right, let me look into some more malicious statements. Give me 1 second. All right. They said McAfee, again, who's also a retired NFL player, is a host of a national weekday sports talk and show and podcast, The Pat McAfee Show. The Pat McAfee Show features a video simulcast, blah, blah, blah. He has built a fan base of 3 million social media followers. Video clips are on YouTube. On November 30th, 2022, during an episode of the Pat McAfee Show, which was posted on his YouTube channel, he falsely accused Favre of serious crime, stating, quote, "Every time his name gets brought up, we have to mention that he tied the hands of the poor people and took money right out of their pockets," quote unquote. Quote, Favre is certainly in the middle of stealing from poor people in Mississippi right now, end quote. Let me read that one more time. That's pretty funny. Favre is certainly in the middle of stealing from poor people in Mississippi right now, quote unquote. That's from Pat McAfee. That's hilarious. Anyway, he published yet another statement defaming Favre on Twitter on Christmas Eve. In his tweet, which included a video of NFL wide receiver Devonta Smith celebrating a touchdown by pantomiming stealing from an oversized Salvation Army basket, McAfee stated Devonta Smith doing the Favre after that touchdown was crazy. That is pretty crazy. All right, then they go into the, you know, cause of action. Oh, one more thing. On February 3rd, 2023, counsel for Favre was busy that day, demanded that Mr. McAfee retract and apologize for his defamatory statements. McAfee refused, prompting Favre to file this action. All right, I'm not going to go over the other person's lawsuit. It's basically the same thing. It is from auditor Shad White, but he did release a statement. He said instead of paying New York litigators, talking about Brett Favre, he'd be better off fully repaying the amount of welfare funds he owes to the state. And that's the state of Mississippi. I mean, that's the thing. You have to understand that in these cases, especially the defamatory cases against public figures, you have a very, very high bar. And not only that, there needs to be no evidence of what they're saying. There is a lot of evidence, whether it's in a civil suit, whether it's in criminal suits involving other people, and this person just hadn't been indicted yet. For whatever reason, he has not been indicted yet, or will he? Who knows? But I will say it's going to be a very uphill battle for him to win those lawsuits. I will say I feel like this lawsuit will be amended or basically dismissed. It's very bare bones, like you said. Like I was saying, it's carbon copy, 8 pages, 9 pages. They're gonna have to add in a little bit more facts, and it'll be off to the races. We'll see if he wins. I don't think he will, but he leaned on a lot of tropes, meaning he was from Mississippi. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. It was filed in a Mississippi court. He may be in front of a judge that will be partial, perhaps. Maybe that's what him and his New York counsel is hoping, but we'll see how it goes. I definitely don't see this settling anytime soon. But it is quite a reminder for people to understand that you can get sued for defamation just like that. So, even though Brett Favre seemed to be picking on particular people, 3 particular people, it could be any particular person on, these big shows, these big time shows. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll see if he gets more than a civil suit. Anyway, I'm glad I've been able to come and break these cases down on what's happening currently in the sports world. But I can't believe he done sued Unc, man. Unc got a lot of stuff going on. Beefing with John Moran, beefing with Dylan Brooks. It's just a lot, man. It's just it's just a lot. He's trying to get LeBron on Club Shay Shay, Ed Reed acting crazy. It's been wild. So let me know what y'all think. Thank y'all so much for listening, and I'll talk to y'all soon.